Hello everybody, this is the Rabid Hedgehog, and this is going to be my ride and review of the 2018 Suzuki SV650. So, little bitty V-twin, 650 motorcycle. As you can see, the dash is very similar actually to the Jixus series, so you have your tachometer up top that's going to be completely digital. You have your coolant over here, gear indicator, fuel gauge, trip odometer, and you can of course go through here and select everything. So you got trip A, trip B, you have backlight, regular odometer, and then you have your range, MPG, average MPG, and right there you got a clock there as well, and of course the big old speedometer, turn signals, neutral light, bright, and service engine light. So very simple. Start stop, or the kill switch I should say, start, horn, and then we've got the turn signals, cancel, and flash to pass and hold. So very simple, clean motorcycle. Beautiful little motorcycle actually. I really do enjoy the way these bikes look, and they're super light too. So this is the first time I ever got to ride one of these. I remember the old Gladius and the ones that this replaced, and never got a chance to ride them either, so this is going to be a first time on one of these for me. Alrighty, first impressions of this little motorcycle is that it's got a little spirited engine. This little 650 has a lot of torque in the lower end. It feels really good to ride actually. Right now I'm currently just holding about 40 miles an hour in second gear, about 6,000 RPMs, and it's actually very happy in this power band. Actually, so it feels like a really happy bike right there. Like I said, I love the way it feels. It's a very light motorcycle, very flickable motorcycle. The mirrors are very well set up. You can see very clearly. Barely any shot of my elbow, but very good view of the traffic around. Seating position is more of a standard position. You sit down a little bit into the bike, knees are slightly forward, feet are back, more aligned with your shoulders. You do have a little bit of a dive to your arm, as you can tell, but not much. It's almost straight, almost like a cruiser, almost. Engine braking on this bike is actually phenomenally good. Every time I get off the throttle, this thing immediately gets going down, and it's doing it right now. I'm not even using the braking just yet. And this bike is already getting slowed down very nicely. So if you like to use engine braking, this is a good bike for it. Now the clutch on this one is very light, but yet firm. It's a very interesting amount of spring tension, and its response is right almost off the handlebar. Got lots of garbage right there. Oh. That's for me owning a Honda. Yeah, this thing just rides nicely. Getting a little bit of rain here too. This bike just feels really good. The suspension on these roads are very broken, so you get a good feel for it really fast. The suspension is not adjustable in the front whatsoever, preload only in the back, but the dampeners are doing a very good job of getting this bike around. I mean, it's a very stiff suspension. We have a traditional style fork even, and I have to say that nice and firm suspension on the front end, very good suspension on the rear. And we're doing great on this thing. I mean, it actually is handling just fine. Come on, folks. And this transmission is spot on too. It's a lovely transmission. Haven't been presented with any false neutrals or anything crazy just yet either. Nice precise shifting. I have to say the seat's pretty comfortable too. I mean, everything about it right now is just feels so great actually. It's a great little motorcycle. Comfortable. Engine's got decent power for the little 650 that it is. Good torque off the line. Great clutch response time. Transmission is spot on. I haven't got a chance to really feel if there's any heavy vibrations in it, but from what I can tell, I don't feel too many vibes at all. Feels very, very planted, very good. There we go. Power is really nice on this bike, actually. Gets up and goes just nicely. And, I mean, I'm doing about 60 miles an hour in third gear. Not bad for a 650. Not bad at all for a 650 twin. I mean, this is a twin that can literally go up to a red line of around 10,000 RPMs. I mean, this is insane. And it's making great power while doing it. I like it. There we go, I'll get up to 6 now. That way you can kind of see, at a normal cruising speed of around 50, you're only doing about 3,500 RPM, so not bad at all. But it does feel bogged right now. So get down to 5th, gets you back to 4,000, or about 3,800 to 3,500, near 4,000 sometimes. Once you get up to 45, and it still feels a little bogged, so 4th gear for city riding is actually a perfect spot for it if you're looking for a good power band. If you're looking to cruise in the city, definitely jump up to 5th. And if you're looking for the best economy on the highway, 6th gear, I believe, is mostly highway going to be only. In 2nd gear, 50 miles an hour, near 9,000 RPM. 60 miles an hour in 2nd gear. This little bike is fun. Very well designed motorcycle. Whee! I like the way it sounds too. That's a great little grunt to it. Get her up to 4th gear, that way I'm not having as much fun. Everybody's already leveled out. Like I said, when it comes to these ride events, it's still fun to review a motorcycle. However, you don't get to have as much fun as you normally would by yourself because you're in a line and everybody's a varying degree of rider. So you just don't know how they're gonna react, how they're gonna ride, and how good they are. So you end up kind of going slower, sometimes a little faster. You know, it really depends on the riders in front of you, what's going to happen. Because you got some that want to seesaw and all this other stuff, but you still get a good feel for a motorcycle. And a lot of times, whenever you're out there with your friends and you're just goofing off, you're going to be in there with a bunch of people. So there's no reason not to have fun with it. This little bike sounds just fantastic. It works just great. And the chassis is so fun too. It's just so lightweight and nimble. I'm trying to think if it's every bit as fast as the 650 Vulcan S, because the 650 Vulcan S produces some pretty decent power and gets up and going pretty decent for a 650 as well. And this one seems like it's got that spirit too. But it's got that more low-end torque because the 650 Vulcan is a parallel twin, this being a V-twin. Get more torque in that lower end on this bike, but I still can't believe it's redline. That's a phenomenal redline for a V-twin. And so far, I mean, I don't have sun to test this, but this does have an adjustable backlight on it. I do hope that it does read very well like it does right now, because, I mean, with the cloud cover and everything, I can read this gauge cluster very, very well in front of me. But I can see that there is a ton of reflectivity in it too, so I wonder if it will do well coming up in an actual situation with sun. So I'm not going to be able to let you know on that because, well, no sun. This bike is awesome. Nice! Brakes are very good on this bike too. I like this bike a lot. I mean, this is a simple motorcycle. It's no inverted fork, nothing special about it. There is no ABS on this one. Just a pure simple motorcycle, which always brings me more joy than most of the ones that have electronics on them. But this bike just rides awesomely. It's got so much spirit for a 650. I like it quite a bit. I love the way it looks too. The black and red, you know, black over red. The cellist frame is painted red, and it just looks awesome. The wheels are red as well. So I mean, the bike itself looks every bit as good as it rides. And now we're on this broken concrete interstate here, and we're bouncing around, and I mean, it's a much tighter spring than even my Rebel 500, and it's a better spring rate than even my wife's Vulcan S. So this bike actually does very, very well on the highway and everything, and just the way the suspension is and everything is so much more comfortable. And this riding position is awesome too. I mean, it's perfect. It's just a beautiful standard motorcycle. Has plenty of power. Blast to ride. Very easy to ride. When you're at 70 miles an hour on the highway, you're producing about 5,000 to 5,200 RPM. So it's getting very good economy. It says I'm getting 55.3 right now. And that's the instant miles per gallon setting. So if it's really getting that, wow, that's pretty decent. Of course, we never know until we take it to a gas station after all this. But this thing is just awesome to ride, and I love the readout. I mean, it's so easy to just look down and see what's going on. 6th gear, you have all these little things to play with. Of course, it's harder to adjust. There's no adjustment on the left side bar. You have to reach up to it. So you really don't want to do that while you're riding. You can, but you'd rather just sit back and enjoy it and just leave it on whatever it's in. But this has been a phenomenal motorcycle. Accelerates really well. Doesn't feel like a 650 at all. In fact, if I put this against a Harley Street 750, I'm wondering which one would actually win, and I would say this one probably could. Easily. In terms of the fit and finish of this motorcycle, in terms of the way it's built, it does beat it by a long shot. Man, this thing is just so comfortable to ride. It's just so effortless too. It's one of those bikes that's just so easy to ride that you forget. You just kind of forget what you're on. It's not like the Night Rod. It's not like other bikes that I've rode. It's just, you know, it's not one that reminds you that it is what it is because it's a Harley or because it's a Gixxer or any of that. It just happens to be a very well laid out, Very nice handling. Very good looking. Just chill riding, just a chill riding bike. Just absolutely a chill riding bike. And a very great riding bike as well. Like I said, everything works very well on it. The brakes are adequate by a long shot. They're actually great. There's no worry about stopping or not stopping. You're going to get down and going. And this little engine makes such a fun noise. It's got so much grunt to it. Definitely a fun riding motorcycle. Definitely a bike I'd recommend. I'll put all the detailed specifications below in the description. So that way you guys can check out the SV650 for yourself. But this is a Rabid Hedgehog approved motorcycle. It's just absolutely a blast to ride. Probably very cheap to buy, cheap to insure. So if you're a newer rider, or if you're an experienced one looking for a city bike to just get around and play around in the city and have a fun time, this is by far a very good bike to do that with. Go play out on the twisties for a little bit. The seat will probably last you about an hour and a half before you start getting a little bit of soreness in the rear end, but at least you're going to have fun getting there and doing it. So at any rate, this is the Rabid Hedgehog. We'll catch you on that next review.